We are all guilty of bad habits. If you have never felt guilty for eating fast food, buying things you can't afford, drinking too much, lying, cheating, or any other habit that has caused you to feel remorse, please comment below and tell me how to do it. You're smarter than the rest of us. However, if you are like most people and you have been living with habits that you do not enjoy, then please continue listening. I myself have struggled with habits, and although some I enjoy, there are others that just not make me feel good about myself. Smoking cigarettes was one of these habits, along with drinking an excessive amount of alcohol. I never took the time to really consider why I was doing either of the two and just told myself, this is who I am. Not true. That was not who I was, but rather the habitual actions I was taking in those moments. Believe it or not, we are not always our choices and decisions because the things that define us, our habits, can be changed. I had formed these bad habits, the ones that labeled me a smoker and alcoholic, through repetition. I repeated the action over and over again. But soon I began to take notice of the people, events, and experiences I was attracting into my life by continuing to repeat these tasks. I knew that I wanted a change, and that I wanted to feel healthy, successful, accomplished, and these habits were restricting me from believing that I could be this person. So, they had to change. I had to change my habits. But how was I going to do this? I realized if I wanted to give up a habit, I would first have to know what a habit is and how a habit is formed. A habit, a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. A habit, it's hard to give up. Old habits are hard to break and new habits are hard to form because the behavioral patterns we repeat are imprinted in our neural pathways, but it is possible to form a new habit through repetition. Now we come to how habits are formed. Habit formation is the process by which new behaviors become automatic. If you instinctively reach for a cigarette the moment you wake up in the morning, you have a habit. By the same token, if you feel inclined to pull out your yoga mat and stretch before work, you have acquired a habit. Oftentimes, old habits are hard to break and new habits are hard to form. That is because the behavioral patterns we repeat most often are internally etched into our neural pathways. The good news is that through repetition, it is possible to form new habits. So, if you're wanting to change your habits, I suggest beginning by changing your beliefs. Changing what you believe to be true changes your behavior and creates new habits. What you believe to be true about yourself can change over time. Any negative behaviors you have right now are simply because you have the wrong beliefs about yourself. It's not because you are a bad person. Work on changing your beliefs, and before long your behavior will reflect your true inner self. Now, we are going to learn tips and tricks on how to change habits. First, we'll start with replacing. You cannot just get rid of a bad habit. It must be replaced by something else. Most people who quit smoking will say they gain weight soon after, and this has partially to do with the fact that smoking eliminates some of your sense of smell and taste, but people tend to replace the habit with eating because of the oral fixation and hand-to-mouth gesture. If you're going to replace a habit, make it something useful and healthy to you. If you quit smoking and find yourself eating more, try making it celery. No calories, and it's mainly 90% water. If it is eating healthier, then replace the food you eat now with healthy food. Avoid the temptation by having unhealthy food in your home. Try running and walking a certain amount of steps before you can reward yourself with whatever it is you enjoy that may not be healthy for you and you're trying to change. Remember, it is not simply getting rid of a bad habit, but rather replacing it with a new one. Triggers. Eliminate as many triggers as possible. If you smoke when you drink, then don't go to the bar, or try not to drink at all until you are comfortable enough to not reach for a cigarette. If you have a habit of eating too many potato chips when they are in the house, then don't have them in your house. If the first thing you do when you get home from work is scroll through Facebook, causing you to become distracted and get nothing done, then hide your cell phone for an hour, or turn it off. Make it easier on yourself to break habits by avoiding the things that cause them. Right now, your environment makes your bad habits easier and good habits difficult to enforce. When you change your environment, then you can change the outcome. Break routine. As we are beginning to notice, habits are formed through repetition. When you walk to your car and open the driver's side door, this is a habit. When you walk up to your house and put the key in the door, this is a habit. When you reach for your glass with your right hand and not your left, this is out of habit. They are things that you have been programmed to do subconsciously. You do not have to try and change the habit all at once. For example, if you always smoke in your car, just start by no longer smoking in your car. This one small habit change will cause a change in your routine. Take small steps to make changes with a habit. If you always buy things when you are feeling stressed out, try to only buy one thing instead of the normal amount you purchase. It will take time to change a habit, but it is worth it. Use the imagination. The imagination is one of the most helpful tools when trying to break a habit. You can begin by taking the simple steps by imagining yourself no longer acting out the habit. If it is smoking, imagine yourself doing whatever it is you are doing without smoking. If it is eating healthier, controlling your anger, or even becoming a better listener, just visualize yourself and imagine doing it now and how you want it to be. Imagine driving in your car not smoking. Imagine choosing the grapes over the chips. Imagine not yelling when you are faced with someone that upsets you. Imagine being someone who listens and does not interrupt. And imagine doing it now. Changing the habit of thought. Habits exist within the mind. The thought comes first and the action precedes itself. The thought is nothing and cannot be done without you acting it out. Pay attention to the thoughts that come in. So if you are hearing yourself thinking, I need, fill in the blank here, stop yourself and change the thought to, I make healthy choices, I make good decisions. If the thought is, I'm so angry right now, I'm going to flip out, just take a few breaths in and wait a few seconds to react. Try counting down from 10 to 1. It may sound silly, but it works. And I will not lie to you and tell you this will be easy, but it is a start and a beginning to making a change. I spent 3 months just visualizing being who I wanted to be and still continuing to take the actions of a smoker. However, I soon began to believe that I didn't need to smoke, and the action began to lessen until it completely stopped. And in the end, I stopped being a smoker when I stopped believing I needed to smoke. This brings us to postponing. Give your mind a break. It's not easy for it to break a habit as quickly as you think it can. Studies have shown it takes about 67 days to change or form a new habit. I say give yourself 90. Try this. When your mind thinks it wants what you are trying to change, tell yourself you can have it in 20 minutes. Then when the 20 minutes is up, and if the thought persists, tell yourself you can have it or you'll do it in 20 minutes. You will soon begin to notice the time between thoughts of wanting it will lessen. This is because you are breaking down the pattern of thought, and a habit will cease when the thought weakens. The more you can control thinking about something, or shall I say, not thinking about something, the sooner it will be gone from your mind. And lastly, keep calm and carry on. Now, the truth is changing any habit or gaining any good habit can feel extremely difficult. You may even find yourself wanting to give up. The thing is not to be too hard on yourself and take small steps. Compliment yourself. Tell yourself how proud you are that you're doing this, even if it is simply not acting out all the habits for one day or even a few hours. The point is to make this a smooth transition and not something that feels like too much work. As humans, when things begin to feel like work, we tend to not want to do it. Remember, this will take time, and time is simply a measurement of change. Take the time to change yourself. Also, please keep in mind there are lots of techniques to changing habits, and these are just a few. Please subscribe to my channel down below, and if you found this helpful, please like and share, and follow me at creatingthemindnow.com.